Hello, guys. Welcome back to another video. This is the Football Connect. I'm your host, Sam, and we are back again with another one. As we are doing some exciting things, as we are going to be looking over the new season that we're about to get into, we're going to talk about the new Slot interview which was done today, as the manager was only focusing on exactly the things that are happening. So there's a lot of things that I'm going to be covering, and it's really important that you understand that there is a lot of things that the manager is dealing with. There are a lot of things that he wants to get straight to the position before anything happens. So I'm really excited over what we are building as a team, and I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. What are you expecting from Liverpool, and what are you expecting from Slot? So there's a lot of things that we covered, and I'm more interested in talking about what what Curtis Jones was talking about. But before we go there, because there's a reaction over the interview and everything which was said, it's like his second interview really as a Liverpool manager with the press conference. So it's exciting. It's preseason. Let's get into some of the things which were talked about. So I want to hear your thoughts as we get into this one. So if you were one of the people who kept an eye over what was said over by the new manager, looking at everything that is happening, trying to cover a lot of things which they are trying to prepare for Liverpool as we go into the new tournament, or in terms of the new press conference. So of course we were being told, because I knew when, because I remember Robertson came on the same time with the Dominic Soboslai, and I saw Dominic Soboslai doing the test in terms of the runnings and stuff, and I didn't see Andy Robertson. But it has been made clear by Slot that the reason why we're not seeing Andy Robertson is because the player is injured, and it seems like he doesn't want to say anything because it's something that they're still dealing with over what's going to be happening in terms of the whole entire thing. So it's a little bit interesting to actually learn, because this is a player that we have seen so much doing so much as a player. So I'm gonna be really curious to see how Slot wants to work with him, and exactly everything that is gonna be happening. So we will keep an eye over what happens here, because we are looking at everything which he's preparing. So we were told firstly about Robertson not being there, and maybe that's what explains why Luke Chamber has had to go, because we were told that he might actually go on loan. So he came here because there are only two left backs that are there, which is Tsimikas and Robertson. The other thing is that Diogo Jota is joining up. If you remember the last video that I did of Liverpool, I talked about the reason why we needed at least a gunman, and we were looking at everything that was there. We are missing a gunman. Dance is injured. So many players are not there. Gakpo not there. Darwin is still not there. And I was wondering how the tour was going to go on. Like, maybe that's the reason why Jota, unlike most of the other players who are supposed to be coming, had to be called to actually come into the United States to help. Ryan Gravenberch are going to join in as we go in, and as well as I think he gave it a good analysis over what is happening over the transfers, talking about you working on the transfers, high standards for the signings that Liverpool wants to bring in. Slot doesn't just want to get anybody into the club. He wants to have somebody who will offer exactly the high standards which will help the team going forward in a lot of things that they're working on. He's just not going to get somebody because he wants to make me and you happy. He's not going to be getting so many signings because the other teams are going to get them first. He wants to get players which, if they are put into the team, they are actually going to offer more in terms of how the team actually plays. So I actually respect that, because remember, this is how Edwards has always been working. Like, when it comes to this, he always preferred to have players which plays a certain role, actually offers more whenever they're getting into the transfers. So he's not going to do any runnings. And like it was said, I think it was one of the reports which was reported the day before yesterday, that they're not going to get people to make everyone happy. They will get the players which will suit Liverpool, which will help Liverpool to move forward in terms of how they are working on the signings. So it's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out. But let's keep an eye over how these people are doing their business and how they'll do whatever they need to do. But like I'm telling you, you have to keep an eye on what happens with Liverpool, because it's really going to be important how we get our signings and how much they can be very, very pivotal to where we go. Slot also said he'll be surprised if Liverpool do not make any signings, because, of course, this has been the fear that people have been talking about. That what about if we don't do signings? What about if we don't get the kind of players that we need? Slot is saying that, wait a minute. We know what we are working on. We know the type of players that we need. So I will be really surprised if we don't do any signings, because he needs players that he's going to be working with. He needs some kind of players that he needs, which are actually going to help the teams to go forward. So we have to keep an eye over all the signings that Liverpool are going to do this season, and keep an eye over the players that are actually going to be brought into the club, because we might be having an interesting season really over what happens here. And also putting the youngsters, and it feels like there are a few youngsters which have really caught the eye of the new manager, looking at all these youngsters that are actually showing up into the Liverpool squad, what they're doing. He is excited over some of the players that he has seen there, and he believes that he can get the better out of them and actually help them to actually be successful as they go forward. So keep an eye over some youngsters which will be put in. I'm going to try to guess some of the youngsters which I feel like maybe have impressed the Slot, and the reason why he's mentioning them. And he says he's not going to be telling us anything about those youngsters. One of the youngsters that I actually feel like he has really maybe done so well to actually get Slot's attention, it has to be Trey Nyoni. The reason why I'm talking about Trey Nyoni is because I've been seeing some of the pictures and something that has been happening. This is a young kid who's really a generational talent, really, when he gets the chance, and however he's going to show what he's capable of doing, but he has not been able to get that opportunity to prove himself. So I feel like he's one of the youngsters. The other one is Seth van der Beek. Seth van der Beek has been shouting, according to what we've been told, that he wants to leave the club, but I feel like he has managed to win the new manager's trust, and he believes maybe he might actually keep him into the club to help out with whatever that they're working on. There are some players that we already know that are in the team, so I'm not going to mention them because I feel like it's not really interested. We have also the Kuma, those youngsters, keep an eye on, but I feel like these two that I've mentioned, keep an eye. Maybe people, you'll be surprised with whatever that is going to happen when it comes to them, because they might be the guys that actually are going to really give the manager what he's really looking for. So I think that's the whole entire thing that I was talked about when it comes to everything that happened on the transfers and everything that has been worked on. The other thing I think maybe, just to remind for reference sake, which I need to remind people, which I do believe Slot talked about, was the Trent Alexander-Arnold contract. Everything according to whatever that is happening, the reporters were trying to get maybe an inside scoop over what's happening, but I feel like our manager is really going to be one of those. Remember, I was complaining about Eric Ten Hag and what he was saying about things he was talking about. There is a manager who knows how to deal with the media. He is not going to mention anything that doesn't have to go to the media until it's time. So I do respect that from the manager, that is not going to tell them because they're looking for a breaking news or something. He is gonna do so much as in terms of respect everything that comes when it comes to the contracts. So I do respect that, and I cannot wait to see how that one plays out like, and how that one will play on in terms of the transfers or in terms of Trent Alexander-Arnold becoming an important player when it comes to Liverpool. So keep an eye on that one. I'm telling you, we will talk about that one very soon. But the only reason why I came today was to also talk about one of the most things which were talked about in this press conference, which involves Curtis Jones, because I think he had some interesting things to talk about, where he was talking about how the difference between Klopp and Slot. If you were clicking into this video, I think that's one of the reasons you clicked into the video. There is a difference between the new manager and the old manager. And I feel like maybe Curtis Jones gives an interesting analysis over how the new manager has been the guy that he feels like, okay, this feels like it's going to be interesting. This feels like it's going to take us on another level. And I'm really curious to see how that one plays out like. So some of the interesting comments which were made by Curtis Jones regarding the midfield's difference. According to him, he's talking about him. Klopp he always wanted his midfielders to be disciplined in the work on whatever they needed to do. So, according to what Enfield sectors had to say, it was like maybe Klopp wanted what we call disciplined runners. That's one of the reasons why I put this one up. Disciplined runners, I might give you an idea of what this actually means. We are talking about, maybe if you remember, having the likes of Fabinho, Millie, and Henderson. Some people who were not really skillful when it comes to play football, but they were very, very workaholics. They were workaholics. They would run everywhere and they would do what they needed to do. But that is the difference between them and the Dominic Soboslai, Curtis Jones, McAllister. The reason why I'm saying that the difference is this: you look at how much, I don't really know much about Jones, but we will see, because it seems like he's really enjoying himself when it comes to the new manager. But we will see how the situation will play out with him. But if you remember McAllister, he is somebody who's so skillful. He needs a team that works the ball in the midfield, which they help to create something going forward. So he's talking about how he feels like he's playing his kind of a game, which he feels like he's really enjoying so much, and how he feel like it's actually going to help the team to go forward in terms of how they're planning and how they're actually working on whatever that they're doing. And he felt that football was a bit rushed under Jurgen Klopp, that maybe in the midfield they would move it so fast, because usually we are trying by all means to hit the teams on the counter. We are trying by all means to make sure that we take advantage of the teams that are actually asleep to hurt them down. But there is a difference with Arne Slot. Arne Slot's team midfield, he wants them to actually be the team that works. When I talk about them working, he wants them to go forward and actually implement a style of play which actually helps the teams to get something as the game continues to go. So that's the difference between Klopp and Arne. It's not going to be a bit rushed. According to Curtis Jones, and this I think is really, really important, he is saying that with Arne Slot, we are going to have something that we call a midfield which becomes the heart of the team. It means that he believes, according to what he's seeing, he's really trying by all means to get the best out of the midfielders, to be ball carriers, to be controllers, to be skillful, to play around, to pass the balls, to actually make sure that the midfield wins the game. Something that we've seen so much when it comes to Pep Guardiola's type of play with what he does. This is something that the new manager is going to be introducing into this Liverpool. There won't be that rush. There won't be anything that we're used to. There won't be things that just happens because you want to see something new. There will be actually a plan in terms of plan of action coming from A going to where they're going. And I feel like it's something that so many people have always talked about, but we know we were excited. We are living under Jurgen Klopp. He's the manager who brought us success. So to us as the fans, he's the God. Whatever he does, he goes. As a player, he has to follow what the manager says. But now, under the new management, under the new manager, he's trying to help them to understand how the midfielders, how players have to become a friend of the ball, to make sure that they do as much as they can. And according to Arne Slot, he actually talked about in the midfield that he is going to be giving some certain examples of different formation and how to help the teams to learn to break them down. And usually when we talk about breakdown, we need the midfielder to be the caretakers, the ones that does the job in terms of breaking down the midfield. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that one plays out. Like, it's going to be interesting to see how Arne Slot actually gets his mission in terms of working over the teams and what he wants to achieve. And the last thing I think so many of you already know, he wants us to kill teams with position and pressing. That talking about how he wants to control the game, how he wants to hurt the team, and how he's going to take advantage of maybe some mistakes that the teams makes to hurt them. And I feel like this is going to be very, very important to see where the Liverpool goes and whatever we're going to do as a team. So this is just a bit of what was talked about in the interview. I'm really curious to hear what your thoughts are over the manager's thoughts and what he was talking about. And I want to see what we are expecting to see from this new Liverpool, this Arne Slot midfield, this Arne Slot strike force, even how the defense will be working on, like, and how some certain players and youngsters will be able to be raised and actually do something amazing over the coming season. So I want to know your thoughts in the comment section. What do you think of of the interview. And what are you expecting to see from Klopp Slot and his team that is working on? Click the like button, subscribe to the Connect, always important, and let me hear what you are expecting from the TFC and what you want to see the new season. So there's a collection of some videos that I'm going to be working on in terms of the top 6 teams of the Premier League. I might add up some of the teams that surprise, like the Aston Villa, the likes of some of the new managers that are in the Premier League. So in those videos, I'm going to be talking about what we are expecting from those teams and what will happen from them coming this new season. So be expectant of those ones. Click the like button, the bell icon, so that you never miss whenever we drop a video. So this has been Sam, and this has been the Football Connect. I'm out. Click the like button. We'll see you on another one. Peace. Subscribe to the Connect, and we'll see you soon. Out.
Beats the goalkeeper. They're just lost for words. He is just brilliant. Georgie Best, Diego Maradona.